Hey parents, it's Yulia, Executive Function Coach, and in this video we're talking about 5 reasons why systems fail. And this is in response to this time of uncertainty and quarantine where we are shifting systems, where stuff that used to work in the past no longer works, where the routine is upended, where the dynamics at home are changed. So we are definitely rebuilding slowly some of these systems. And in that process, we get to practice, again, all these foundational skills of what's the best way to build a system anyway. So I'm bringing you 5 reasons why systems fail in hopes that you will become aware of any of these situations or patterns that you're experiencing and begin to take real steps in the right direction to create more solid systems that are gonna function more efficiently and help your child develop more independence so that you can spend less and less time micromanaging or managing them and have more time for yourself, have more time for quality bonding and quality connection and conversation so that you're not spending your entire time together arguing and in conflict. So 5 reasons why systems fail. And at the end, I'm going to give you my most important piece of advice and reveal to you a secret project that I've been working on. So please stick it out to the end. This is important, and I want you to get each one of these steps down. Please take note so that you can become aware and become a ninja at creating systems in your house. Okay, so reason number 1 why systems fail is if your system is authoritarian in nature, meaning that it's coming from the top down. Parents, if you are taking ownership of your child's goal, if you are designing the system, or if you're leading the way, then what you're expecting them is to take your system and apply it to themselves. You're expecting compliance. And what happens when you create the system is, because your child's not taking ownership of it, their executive functioning is not activated, and they therefore feel like you're just telling them what to do. And who among us likes to be told what to do? None of us do. And so when your kid's trying to get their own way and they don't have an effective way of getting it, they're going to be oppositional, they're going to be defiant, they're going to refuse your help, they're going to refuse your system. So if the system's authoritarian, if it's top down, it's most likely going to fail. It might work if your child is compliant, parents, but most of you who I'm talking to, your kid is not compliant. If your kid is compliant, or if you have a child without ADHD, maybe that's more compliant and less oppositional, you'll notice that the system might work in the meantime, in the beginning, but that ultimately more and more and more, your child is going to become more resistant to being told what to do and will want to take ownership of their own routine and system. So they might lie to you, they might say they're doing it and then refuse or avoid it secretly, or they might half-ass it, or they might just outright refuse to do it. When we allow your child to take the ownership over creating the system and to take the lead with our guidance, that's when they are activated, that's when they succeed or fail on their own, and that's where they are more likely to follow through and execute the system that they created. Okay, reason number 2 why systems fail. Parents, sometimes you are way too focused on the outcome and you're not focused enough on the process. When we focus too much on the outcome, we stop using the problems and the mistakes and things like that, the obstacles. We stop using that as data in order to fix the system, and we use it as proof that this isn't working and that we need to try something new. I challenge you to not pay attention as much to the outcome, but pay more attention to the effort your child is putting into executing the system and the process itself. Can you keep tweaking the process based on the outcome until you begin to get the outcome that you want? Can you let go of the expectations of any outcome and just focus on creating a more secure and reliable system? So reason number 2 is that we're focused way too much on the outcome and not enough on the process. Reason number 3 why systems fail is closely related to reason number 2, and that is that we expect fast results. We want the system to work a lot faster than it actually is able to, and when we don't get those results right away, we assume that the system doesn't work and we trust the system, we start over, and if all this stuff is coming from the top down, then your child is just going to refuse, and get exhausted and overwhelmed by the fact that you are the one managing them and their system and their life. And they're going to become more resistant to seeking your help in the first place. Reason number 4 that systems don't work is that when there is an issue, which is inevitable, when there is an outcome that doesn't meet your expectations, parents, you tend to react in that situation to your fear, to your frustration, to your disappointment. You react emotionally, you might get triggered, and you treat that outcome as if it's permanent, and you point to it and it's proof that your child isn't trying enough, they don't care enough, they're kind of lazy, or they're not activated or taking ownership. Instead of reacting to whatever the outcome is, parents, I want to challenge you to assume the best, to assume that there will be problems and mistakes, and that when they happen, I want you to intentionally respond to them in a way that's going to help to build the system and build more connection. And the way you want to respond to challenges is by pointing out the challenge in a non-judgmental way and saying something like, I noticed that you're experiencing this challenge. Help me understand why you think that is and how that feels for you. And you stop talking and you listen empathetically. You don't listen to continue to respond to them, but you listen to understand, and you ask clarifying questions. You reflect back and validate what your child is saying. Oh, I'm hearing you that sometimes you feel like procrastinating because you're overwhelmed and you're feeling burnt out, and then when you procrastinate, sometimes you forget to come back around to that and then finish that work, and it seems like we need that there's a part of the system missing. Am I understanding that correctly? Is that how you feel? Tell me more. So when you reflect back what they say, you validate how they feel, and you really do your best to try to understand where they're coming from, that's how you respond, because you're helping them build the skill of reflecting back, of communicating, of processing all this information, probably for the first time. As they do it out loud with you, they're building the skill to do that on their own. They're building this ability to have conversations with themselves, to visualize, to reflect. This is metacognition. This is a skill that they absolutely need your help with. On the other hand, if you're just reacting to the problems and you're getting angry or upset, or you have a consequence waiting, if that problem persists, you're going to cut the connection off with your kid, and they're going to stop being that source of info that you need, and they're not going to develop the ability to reflect. In fact, they're going to avoid you like the plague, because you are a source of judgment, of frustration, of punishment, rather than a source of comfort and guidance. So that's reason number 4 why systems fail. The final reason is that you're not investing enough time in the connection piece. This what we just talked about, empathetic listening, non-judgmental listening, holding space. If you're not investing enough time into that process, and if you're not prioritizing connection on top of everything else, prioritize it above the system, above the outcome, above anything else. If you're not prioritizing your relationship, your ability to listen and empathize and validate your child, if you are not doing that consistently every single time that you come together in order to work on the system, your system is not going to work. Primarily because your kid is going to feel like you don't understand them, like you don't see them, you don't hear them, and that they don't have a voice, they don't have any stake in the matter, and that no matter what they say or how they feel, you're just going to tell them what to do or punish them if they don't comply or if they don't get the outcome they want. They're going to become further and further disconnected and are going to be less likely to invest in the amount of effort that it takes to build and practice and maintain and improve upon a system. So that's the 5 reasons why systems fail, and I ended it on connection because that is usually the root cause of a lot of the dysfunction that you're experiencing in your relationship in your home. The root cause is usually that you do not have a system to connect with your child consistently. You might be leaving it up to chance. You might be the one doing more of the talking and not enough of the listening. So if either of those two things ring true, then you can most likely trace that to the root of the dysfunction in your home. And I'm excited to share with you a new project I'm working on that is part of the System Fail series that we're going to be talking about why systems fail and how to improve upon them, and taking a step back, looking at the big picture. So the series is called Quarantine, and it's interviews that I'm doing with my teen coaching clients, and they're so great because you get such an insight into their thoughts, their emotions, their experience now during this weird time of isolation. And hopefully, parents, that helps you get a clear and better understanding of your own teen or your kid. And if right now you're feeling disconnected and like they're not willing to really open up and share authentically what they're going through, that's okay. They might need time to adjust, time to connect with their friends, and they need to feel safe in order to open up, parents. So hopefully this provides an example, a model for how to connect with your teen, and some hope that, you know, their inner thoughts are very deep. They are empathetic beings, and they have a message for you, parents, and they want to be heard. So I love that I have this opportunity to give them a voice, and they know that what they're going to do is going to be in service to this community, and they're excited to discuss the topics that they choose about ADHD. And we have a 5 lightning round questions at the end. One of my favorite is, what's one thing you wish your parents really understood about you? And those answers, wow, they were so insightful. So I will be editing and uploading these interviews to my podcast one at a time, and I'll be sharing that on my blog with you, and we'll be discussing the key takeaways from each interview. And I'll continue to make these vlogs in service to whatever questions or hardships you're going through now during this time of uncertainty, during this time of transition. And we'll all just keep taking the next step together, parents. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in our next video.